What was Jesus writing in the sand? This is Brad Queering from Abundant Life. Earlier today, I received an email from one of our Abundant Life family members, and they were asking me about John 8, verse 6. What was Jesus writing in the sand? Well, let's take a look at this answer together, beginning with verse 3 of John chapter 8. The teachers of the law and the Pharisees brought in a woman caught in adultery. They made her stand before the group and said to Jesus, "Teacher, this woman was caught in the act of adultery. In the law, Moses commanded us to stone such women. Now, what do you say?" They were using this question as a trap in order to have a basis for accusing him. Well, first of all, we see that this woman was caught in adultery. It says that very clearly. Where was the guy? That's a better question. But nevertheless, she was guilty. And what the law of Moses said was correct. She was supposed to be stoned to death. But these men weren't looking to Jesus for counsel on the law. They were looking to trap him so they could accuse him and eventually kill him for supposed blasphemy. Well, we continue on in verse 6 to see where Jesus took this. Jesus bent down and started to write on the ground with his finger. When they kept on questioning him, he straightened up and said to them, "Let any one of you who is without sin be the first to throw a stone at her." Again he stooped down and wrote on the ground. Now, what did Jesus write on the ground? Well, there's been a lot of speculation because we actually don't know. The Bible doesn't say anywhere what Jesus wrote on the ground. And anyone who's taking a guess at this says it very clearly that it's just a guess. It's not authoritative. But some of the guesses are like this. Maybe Jesus was writing down the 10 Commandments, or at least the commandment, "Thou shalt not commit adultery." Perhaps Jesus, knowing all things because he's God, was writing down the names of those men involved with her. Can't commit adultery by yourself. And finally, maybe Jesus was saying, "Let any one of you who is without sin be the first to throw a stone at her," and putting these words in the sand. Well, no matter what Jesus wrote or what he said, this is what happened. At this, those who heard began to go away one at a time, the older ones first, until only Jesus was left, with the woman still standing there. Jesus straightened up and asked her, "Woman, where are they? Has no one condemned you?" Well, whatever Jesus had written had a huge impact. All of these accusers eventually ran away with tails tucked between their legs. Now it was just Jesus and this woman, and this, I think, is the best part of the story. "Has no one condemned you?" "No one, sir," she said. "Then neither do I condemn you," Jesus declared. "Go now and leave your life of sin." How in the world could Jesus break the very law that he had written, being God? Because this woman had to be stoned to death. God has to deal with sin. Well, very shortly thereafter, Jesus would be taken to Calvary, and he would be nailed to a cross, and he would die. Not as a political martyr or a religious martyr, but rather he took on all of our sin, including the adultery of this woman. He took it upon himself. God poured out all his judgment against all sin on Jesus, and therefore all sins can be forgiven through the work and the person of Jesus Christ. Therefore, Jesus had the authority to say, "I do not condemn you either. Rather, I give you grace and forgiveness." But there's something else. When we believe in Jesus Christ, we do receive God's grace and we do receive his forgiveness. But there's something more. Jesus told her, "Go now and leave your life of sin." Jesus is calling us to take this grace from God and not abuse it, but rather leave our life of sin and follow God's way. Share this good news story with someone else. Also, share this message that you're seeing here on YouTube with anyone. Like, subscribe, leave a comment, leave a question. Maybe your question will get on the air and we can answer it. I would just love to do that for you. So in the meantime, God bless.